Okay, sorry for that interruption. So, Max, how many years have you been with DOT?
A total, if I'm not mistaken, 73 was when I come on, and I believe that's 42, 43.
You came in as
So
a,
I come to work here. Uh, uh, Mr. Cadell was had the position like Jamal's got now.
oh,
And he was the one that did the interview, and I come on as a traffic data recorder one, and that was back in the day. I started out counting cars in the
okay.
car like Billy Evans's voice did,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that for almost 3 years, and I have to thank two supervisors that, cause I was like, driving me crazy sitting in a car for 8 hours. And
Yeah.
back then, we didn't get travel time.
Oh,
Also, I would leave home on a Monday morning to do a 2 to 10 in Charlotte,
mm-hmm.
and you didn't get travel time or paid time. You only got paid when you got there and went to work at 2 o'clock and worked till 10. But the big thing was sitting in a car for 8 hours. I was a
Okay.
young whippersnapper, and and you know, but Irby White and Roy Hartley were like the first generation people that come in and did car counting,
Mm-hmm.
did and went to PTC work. Back then we didn't have class men; it was just car counters and PTC men, and then you made supervisor. And they had gone through the ropes, and they told me that they understood how I felt and to hang in there. That we had a lot at that time. There was going to be right many gentlemen retiring, and that one of the PTC territories would open up, and that I would really enjoy that job, And so I hung in there and stayed. And when the gentleman that worked Territory 4, I can't remember his name, come open, and I got the job,
All right.
and they were right.
And the
It's,
rest is history.
and the rest is history. I've loved. Well, it's evident I loved what I did
Absolutely. We can
because,
all see that.
yeah, I never dreaded coming to work on a Monday,
Okay.
and stuff.
So it's safe to say that you've just been in the same department during your
Oh yes,
tenure
ma'am.
with
I've been
us.
in the same department all my years
Okay.
with the state.
What part of the state have you enjoyed working in more than others? Is there a particular part of the state that you enjoyed more than
Well, yeah, I love traveling to the coast. That's always kind
the
of
coast?
the coast, but all of eastern North Carolina. I mean, and that's the other thing about the job as a supervisor. You're traveling, and I've probably been on every road in eastern North Carolina since I've been a supervisor, and you see something different every day.
Oh.
It's not the same grind and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're traveling and working with the guys, and I always call the field men that work under me. I always would refer to them as my guys because
Okay.
they were like, and I had a great group of guys the whole time
Oh, that's a
that I
blessing.
worked here.
That is a blessing.
Had one or two kind of bad apples, but they wound up, they didn't really like the job.
So they fizzled out.
They fizzled out on their
Okay.
own and
Right,
stuff.
right.
But
Okay.
I'd say 98% of the time I have had a good group of guys that have worked under me
That's
and
great.
stuff. And that makes your job a lot easier also.
Yeah,
Having
it does.
having a
Yeah.
good team
Mm-hmm.
to work
It
with.
always does. Always does.
Yes.
The most bizarre encounter.
The most bizarre encounter, oh, golly, I'm trying to think about the year, but I would say this was probably in 2003 or 4. I was coming from Charlotte. My guys were up there helping Lewis Alley out with Charlotte Urban, the Metro Liner,
Mm-hmm.
and I was coming back from Charlotte on a Thursday, and it was up around Greensboro. I was behind a lady. Well, I didn't know it was a lady, but her car went right off of I-85. and went up into trees and went through some trees before it hit one head on. And I mean, she hit it dead center, and I just I put my lights on because cars were behind me, and I pulled off the road. And I had to back up because I couldn't get off quick enough without causing an accident. And I backed back up to where she was at, and nobody else was stopping. And I could see her in the car, and she was slumped over the steering wheel. And I get the kind of car she was driving didn't have airbags either. And anyway, I got out of the truck and went over there, and the door was kind of crumpled a little, and I had to, it caught on fire, and the engine part did. And I finally got the door open and unbuckled her seatbelt and pulled her out and drug her back away from it. I probably drug her 15 or 20 feet when this other gentleman had stopped, and he come over and helped me. We drug her away from there, and he had already called 911.
Great.
And so we stayed there till the highway patrolman got there, and then but her car, the fire department had anyway about burn it all up.
Right.
And that was and I told it, well, she come to, and this was before the ambulance or anything got there, and she was able to walk. She come to find out she was a diabetic.
Okay,
And
she had an attack.
Attack, and it passed out or whatever, sugar dropped.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, we put her in my truck and wrapped her up. I had a blanket in the back, and we wrapped her up till the ambulance got there.
Oh, wow.
But that's and I told this at one of our next annual meetings, and we had a fireman there talking about that when all this happened.
Right.
He just happened to be there speaking.
Okay.
And it come up about helping her. Could I have been sued or something if she had had a broke neck? And he explained it no. That it was something about the Good Samaritan rule.
The Good Samaritan
for doing
Act.
Something like that.
Right, yes.
Because
had you not pulled her out the car, she would have burnt up.
Anyway, that was the most unusual and wildest thing that ever happened to me on this job.
I think it's safe to say that you enjoy your job immensely.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the least enjoyment you find in your job?
Oh gosh.
And that was least enjoyment. That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's not. It wasn't. There was never. It just was sometimes when I had many years while I was a supervisor that I was short field men, and then they would have a freeze on jobs, and the little pressure about trying to move men around to try to keep up and finish my territories on time. Sometimes that was kind of a struggle, but it really, I shouldn't say that it was a struggle. It was a challenge, and it was something different with the job, and it made it more interesting to try to work to keep caught up. And it usually worked out pretty good. When I had 3 PTC men, I could get my territories finished.
Right.
And I had 4 territories. But there was a time or two I only had 2 men for a while. And it didn't work out well with 2 men, because you got to learn how to move them around to try to keep it all caught up.
Gotcha.
But it was just a challenge. It wasn't really
something that you dislike so much as it just being a challenge.
Just being a challenge.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you going to miss?
Everything. The camaraderie with everybody, the Greenfield, downtown at the Highway Building.
Melissa and Sheila, Shirley.
I've just known everybody for so long.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
true.
Of course, we've had some new faces, but And just, like I was saying about last week, just missing coming to work
Yeah.
and stuff is
Mm.
gonna take, I know it's gonna take getting used to.
Well, I'm gonna miss those phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss that.
Yeah.
Let me see. So, during your tenure, how have the roads and traffic changed? And would you have ever predicted or expected it to be as it is now? I mean,
No,
the
not when I started.
technology and, you
Oh.
know, the growth
Oh,
and,
well, that was the technology part was another challenge for me because, you know, when I was in school, the computers and everything weren't even around.
mm,
And, but, as far, let me finish that part. As far as the technology, that was another interesting part because I believe it was, the early 2000s, somewhere in there before we got a computer. And I know my supervisor had told me they were coming and everything. Back then, we just did everything paperwork.
Yeah.
It was all
Mhm.
paper. And so the hardest thing kind of to do was I enrolled in Johnson Community College and took introductory to computers because I'd never even turned the computer on at that time. And found out that I liked that. I mean, once I learned how to
Mhm.
use it and not be scared of the computer,
Right.
and uh, it was another challenge, but it was a good challenge.
Okay.
And I worked hard on learning everything, and
Okay.
like with you helping me the other
Right.
week on my
Yes.
steps.
Uh-huh.
If I could write my steps down,
Yeah.
I got it.
I understand. I
and
understand.
and
Yeah.
you know, I had a lot of people that helped me out with that,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed that. That's
Okay.
another thing as
Mhm.
far as the technology. But the roads, when I was young and come to work here in '73, I never really thought much about traffic.
Mhm.
But as the years went by, it was just amazing. Every year you could tell the difference. And I'd say over the last 6, 7 years, it's just so much traffic out there, it's really hard to tell it much difference, but it still is growing.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I like with Kent, Steve, those guys, their jobs have changed a lot too.
Right.
But it's people don't think about the growth
Mm.
and how much growth has gone on. Also,
Yeah.
here in Raleigh, and now it's spreading all out toward
Mhm.
where I live on 42 Highway.
Yeah.
It's just
Mhm.
that part is amazing. I
Yeah.
never would have thought that it would be like that.
Right. Okay. I wanted to ask this question. I already know the answer, but a memory that warms your heart and brings a smile to your face.
Wow, Peggy, there's been so many. I mean, there really has. It's been so many memories here. Ah, mm,
Just one that sticks out.
ah.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, one memory that I don't know how heartfelt it was. Miss Kent Taylor. You know, when he got the job that he's got now with us, and I can't remember what year that was, but for a long time, the way I was raised, even though I was right much older than Kent,
Mhm.
uh, my parents raised me, Mr. and Mrs.
Right.
And if your boss, respect for other
Right.
people.
Exactly.
And I always used to call him Mr. Taylor. And
Mhm.
it took him a long time to get me. He'd always say, Max, I wish you would call me Ken. And I had told him that. I said, "Well, I said, Mr. Taylor, I wasn't raised that way. You're my head boss,
Right.
and my boss,
Right.
and I wasn't raised like that." Which he, I think it made him feel good to know that I was raised like that.
Right.
But it took me the longest time to ever call him Kent, and now it's all natural. But it really did, that part.
Okay.
And then the most heartfelt time was when my best friend, Romy Coley's stepdad, Robert Pierce, he and I went to high school together,
Okay.
played football together. We were best friends.
Oh.
And we hung out together on Saturdays. We roomed together on the road back then.
Mm-hmm.
And when he passed away,
Oh. Okay.
he had a massive heart attack, and he was, I think, 41 or 42 years old.
Right. Right.
But you have a lot of friends in your life, but there's nothing like a best friend.
That's true.
And I work, think about him every now and then.
Okay. So, what words of wisdom are you going to leave us with?
Oh gosh, that I would say that everybody really should respect everybody else and respect decisions that are made, even though you may not agree with them, and try to treat everybody the same.
Yeah, the golden rule: do unto others as
you
you
have
wish
them
it done
doing
unto
to
you.
you. That's true.
Good.
And the old saying, "What goes around comes around," also is a true thing.
That is true.
That's why I say treat people with respect and kindness, and it'll come back and reward you tenfold.
Yes.
That's my philosophy.
Okay, Max, thank you for coming out here and sitting down with me and giving us your feelings on your last 40 plus years here at DLT. I'm the new kid on the block, but I definitely have enjoyed you. I've enjoyed your spirit, and it's just so jolly. That's how I would describe you, jolly. So,
Well,
Jolly
thank you,
Max.
And I've enjoyed you.
Thank
We've had our
you.
talks.
Thank you. Yes.
Especially about my grandbaby.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the part that warms your heart,
Oh,
and that's when we
yes.
get a smile
Yeah,
out of
I
you.
forgot. That's right. Yes.
Okay.
She is everything in the world to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Max, we are out.
Okay.